Ben, Donald Trump has nominated a very conservative, very MAGA branded group of people to his administration. This group has to be confirmed by the Senate typically. Why do you think Trump is stressing out here? Why not go the traditional route and go through the Senate?
Yeah, I think there's fear that there will be opposition to his picks. I think there's still a lot of, despite their overwhelming support, there's a lot of resistance to the MAGA movement, even amongst Republicans. And I think we're seeing some of that hangover from past cycles where a lot of Republicans are still not fully on board with the MAGA movement. And because so many of his nominations have been loyalists, I think that causes concern amongst those that are not on board.
Well, and in all fairness, this is a pretty diehard MAGA group of people. We've got people like Matt Gaetz. We've got people like Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. This is kind of the star-studded group that one could expect with all the dazzle of a Trump presidency. But frankly, I don't know that we've seen so many important players, particularly from the Congress, be pulled up into an administration in quite some time.
Yeah, I agree. I think the real concern with his nominations is whether they'll be too loyalist, even for Trump's own good. In his past administration, it seemed like he had a lot of trouble both keeping people and also getting people that would cooperate with him and his goals. So this time he's gone all in on the MAGA crowd, which could work in his favor and it could work against him. There is real concern that he's appointed a bunch of yes men that are not going to give him the counsel that he actually needs from his cabinet. I am generally on board with what Trump's doing, but really you do need those people to question what you're trying to do and to give you alternate insights and just general advice. And if these people are too on board with what Trump's trying to do, he might not get alternate perspectives that he needs to run an effective administration.
Well, and that kind of questioning, I think, is exactly what they're trying to avoid here. This even appearance of impropriety or unqualifiedness, rather than, sort of hash this out in front of everyone. I think Trump would much rather sort of, I don't know that most people care about administration nominations perhaps as much as we do. And so I think that most people will see this go, swept under the rug and it won't make a big difference. So I do want to get into a little bit about recess appointments. If Trump can't get the Senate to approve the people that he's nominated to these very important positions like the Attorney General, like the Secretary of State, then he's got a couple options, but not many. And one of the options, one of the more controversial ones, is to do this thing called a recess appointment. And the way it works is that the president has the power under certain circumstances to shut down the Congress. And if the Congress has been shut down for more than 10 days, the president can kind of do whatever he wants. And so, Ben, what do you think about that? Like, as just a concept, this is kind of something that we did expect to see a little bit from President Trump, right? Like a further flexing of the executive branch, but maybe not quite so early on, maybe not quite before he's even taken office.
So here's the thing. In a perfect world, the checks and balances within the U.S. government would serve their purpose. But unfortunately, that's not really the world we live in. And there are a lot of loopholes around these checks and balances. And Trump's opposition is not afraid to use those in their favor. And beyond even that, there's historical precedent for doing the recess appointments. Clinton did it, Bush did it, and Obama did it. So it's not as if Trump would be doing something entirely new here. And the thing is, I think we're in a situation where Republicans need to embrace the power that they have and the power that's been given to them. I think the right in America tends to be allergic to power, partly because I think the right has been called Nazis for so long that they're very wary about doing anything that might support that thesis. But the thing is, the leftists are not afraid to use every single lever of power at their disposal to get what they want. And I think Republicans need to realize that they have to do the same if we're going to get anywhere, because if you don't, things are just going to keep drifting left. So, we have a game board set in front of us. I think we need to use every piece at our disposal.
Well, and you talked about the opposition and some of the historicity of this. I think we saw a lot of really crazy appointments from the last administration, right? Rachel Levine, a transgender general. We saw other appointments who, were regularly found in their off hours to be, wearing dog masks and walking around on leashes and stuff. Like, I think that in so many ways, this is a response to the sort of craziness of the Biden administration that we were told was normal. We were sort of told, like, don't worry, like, this is, there is this sort of thing of like, hey, we need to normalize this. We need to normalize, the dog face wearers, and let them into government. And I don't know that we need to normalize that. But certainly this feels like a sort of, fight fire with a flamethrower kind of moment.
I agree. But again, Trump has been given a mandate. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. This is what the American people want. And because this is something he has at his disposal that has been done before, I think he should use it both for his own good, but also for the good of the American people, because I think that's what they want. And a lot of the complaints of Trump's first administration are centered around the fact that he didn't get as much done as some people hoped he would. And I think this is his opportunity to deliver on the promise not only of this campaign, but the 2016 campaign.
Well, and we saw so much turnover with that administration that I think choosing hardcore loyalists, people who have been with you, since 2016 perhaps, you can't really go wrong choosing that guy, because if he's been with you for 8 years, he's likely to be with you for the next 4. And so I think in many ways, this is a strong choice from Trump. I think it's a controversial one. I think that particularly in this period between him taking office and, these appointments getting confirmed, I think we're likely to hear a lot more about this as time goes on. So good that we're getting in here early and talking about it. And we will certainly keep you guys posted as this one continues to develop.